live, but check it out.
Hello?
Madeline, no!
Get me!
What if your father calls you and says he will give you his massive property on the eve of his 75th birthday on one condition? You must keep him alive until midnight, as he believes that someone from beyond this world is determined to kill him tonight. But if you fail to keep him alive, he will donate his property worth billions to a charity as per his will. Let's see whether the 4 children of an elderly man are able to save their father or not. The movie begins with Drew and his wife Hannah driving toward Charles Abernathy's sprawling mansion. Drew is actually Charles's youngest son. Shortly after, they arrive at the mansion in their posh car. Drew and Hannah get out and are greeted by the twins, Madeline and her brother CJ, who are on the lookout for take control of the family company. Drew, the good son, distanced himself from the family years ago to run a charity. Madeline is clearly unhappy to see Hannah with Drew, but Drew assures her that bringing Hannah was his decision and their father wouldn't mind.
Get it. I'm crashing.
Honestly, didn't know if you two would even show up. You're both, so it was my call. I didn't
We're
think
just
that.
both happy to see you.
Soon, Kami, Charles's youngest child, arrives. Kami is a vapid social media influencer whose content is largely ignored. Amid the Abernathys reunion, Miles Hartman, Charles's attorney, arrives and tells them that their father will be thrilled to see them. He then leads the 4 Abernathy siblings to the mansion and informs them that their father is not home yet and that all staff and security have been sent away for the night but will return in the morning. Everyone is puzzled by this. Miles leaves after telling them that Charles expects them in the great room in 30 minutes.
Meet him in the great room in 30 minutes.
Wait.
Drew and Hannah settle into their room, where Drew jokes that if he is poisoned tonight, Hannah will have a perfect excuse to avoid his family. Then, he asks her not to take offense at Madeline and CJ's remarks, explaining that they resent him for being there for their mother at the end, when they weren't. Meanwhile, Madeline, Kami, and CJ wait for Drew and Hannah downstairs. Shortly afterward, Drew and Hannah come down the stairs, apologizing for keeping the others waiting. Thereafter, they step into Charles's room, who is gazing at his wall clock. Charles is miffed after seeing an outsider like Hannah, as she isn't from the Abernathys' bloodline. Then, Hannah says,
I miss your birthday.
Why, there's a very good reason. 2 years since we were all under this roof. 2 years since
Charles says that it has been 2 years since we were all under this roof, and it seems that this family is drifting apart. Then he says to them, "You are probably wondering why I called you all home." Then Kami says,
It's your birthday.
Charles reveals that he is about to die on the eve of his 75th birthday, leaving everyone utterly shocked. Charles surprises them with the truth that there is a price on his head, one that will be collected tonight by midnight. Then, Madeline says to her father, "You want to say that someone is coming to kill you tonight at midnight?" Charles responds in the affirmative, while no one believes him, assuming him to be mentally sick. Charles clears that he has ruined lives in the name of business, and now he has to pay the price. Afterward, he starts reading out his will to his children, stating, "My property will be eventually distributed to my children in the event of my death. If my children fail in their duty to protect me, the property defaults to the Abernathy Foundation in full, meaning, if anything happens to me tonight, my children will lose everything." Hearing the will, Madeline and CJ almost lose it.
Are you
Daddy, no.
kidding me?
Serious?
After this, Charles comes out of the great room with his greedy children and finds Miles standing in the hall. Miles informs him that external communications have been suspended. All entrances and exits have been locked and windows have been replaced with bulletproof glass. Thereafter, Charles asks Hannah to go with Miles as she doesn't belong to Abernathy bloodline, but Hannah refuses to leave as they are her own. So Miles leaves and locks the door properly from outside.
I'll be in the library.
Charles also leaves for his library while reminding his adult children of their duty to keep him alive till midnight. Kami, Madeline, Hannah and Drew gather in a room to discuss the matter with sullen faces.
Go take a look around.
CJ and Madeline say that their father has lost his mind completely, but Hannah counters her saying their father could be right. So everyone goes out to look around the house and try to find a hideout where the likely attacker may be hiding. Hannah points towards the antiquities room. Instead of ironing out the problem, Madeline and CJ begin to rip open old sores, brushing aside their immediate problem. So Hannah has to intervene in the escalating matter. Troubled by the meaningless altercation with her siblings, Kami comes into the wine cellar and starts picking out one of the wine bottles. Just then, someone slams the door shut upstairs, trapping her downstairs. Thereafter, she senses someone standing behind the cabinet. Terrified, she rushes back upstairs but finds the door locked. Panicking, she screams for help as a shadowy figure begins approaching her. Just in time, CJ opens the door, saving her for now. Meanwhile, Hannah and Drew walk into Charles's room. They press him to reveal who is actually trying to kill him, promising that if he tells them the truth, they can help save his life. Charles finally admits, "Years ago, I made a business deal, a deal that cost someone their life." The scene then shifts to CJ, who is playing billiards alone in his room. He takes a sip of wine, sets the glass on the counter, and turns back to his game. Moments later, the glass tips over on its own, startling him. Puzzled, he inspects the counter but finds nothing unusual. But when he turns back to the billiards table, he is horrified to see all the balls mysteriously gathered in one spot. Next, we cut to Kami, who is recording a video for her social media to showcase her new swimwear line. While filming, she notices a figure in the background of the camera. Nervously, she glances over her shoulder and calls out, asking if someone is standing in the corner. No one answers. With growing unease, she walks up to the wall and switches on her phone's flashlight, only to find nothing there. Convinced it was just her optical illusion, she shakes it off and prepares to step into the pool. As Kami sits on the edge of the pool, an invisible force rushes to her and begins to drown her in the pool, eventually killing her. Madeline and CJ are busy playing billiards in their room, unaware that their younger sister has been put to death. Shortly afterward, Hannah and Drew arrive and inform them that Kami is missing. So everyone starts looking for Kami and discovers her floating dead in the pool. Everyone panics and takes Kami's corpse out of the pool. Hannah says that Kami's death is not just an accident but a murder. CJ becomes furious as he thinks that Hannah is indirectly accusing him of Kami's murder. Then, Hannah clears that what if someone has been in the house the whole time? So everyone storms into Charles's room and informs him about Kami's sudden death. Grudgingly, Charles comes out of his room and mourns his daughter's death, revealing that his family is cursed and it is all because of him.
My family is cursed.
In the depth of sorrow, Charles says that it's not someone coming for him, but a spirit that wants him dead. Later, he says that Kami's death will not change anything, and you still have to keep me alive. Seeing Hannah's irreducible loyalty to him and choosing to stay to save him, Charles gives Kami's inheritance to her, making her $2 billion richer.
You're $2 billion richer. What's coming?
Besides, isn't this what you wanted? For us to...
Don't open the door unless...
Afterward, Madeline, CJ, Drew, and Hannah lock Charles in a safe room to save him from getting killed. Then, they head downstairs. CJ and Madeline assume Drew and Hannah to be the killer of Kami as there is no one inside the house besides them. Drew gets livid and directly denies the allegations. After this heated argument, Hannah and Drew head back to the pool only to find Kami's body missing from the pool area. This leaves the couple utterly shocked. Hannah is surely convinced that this isn't a game anymore and wants to escape from the house with Drew safe and sound.
In this house and it killed your sister.
She explains that it doesn't matter to her if Charles writes them out of the will. Madeline comes into her room instead of looking for the hidden killer in the house. She sits near the dressing table and starts a replica toy merry-go-round. After a while, the toy stops, but the very next moment it starts up again on its own, leaving Madeline stunned. Just then, she notices the reflection of Kami's photo in the mirror, which rattles her to her core. At that moment, CJ arrives, distracting her. Madeline and CJ speculate that Drew and Hannah might have killed Kami to steal her share. Fearing for themselves, they begin plotting to remove Drew and Hannah before the two can do the same to them. In the following scene, Drew and Hannah enter the antiquities room, desperately searching for a way to escape the house. Inside, they uncover several clay idols and other relics. Soon after, they find a concealed door in the room, but it is secured with a padlock. Drew forces it open, creating only a narrow gap large enough to attempt passage. Hannah tries to squeeze through the opening, but becomes stuck, as if some unseen force is preventing her escape. Struggling to save herself from being crushed in the narrow channel, she retreats back into the room in a panic. Simultaneously, the clay statues in the room begin to turn around, all of them facing Hannah and Drew. Startled, the couple rises to their feet, only to realize the statues are staring directly at them. Fear grips them. Summoning courage, they nervously attempt to walk past the eerie figures, but the situation worsens when the power suddenly goes out, plunging the room into darkness. Terrified, Hannah and Drew manage to escape unharmed, though deeply shaken. Not long after, they hear a noise coming from Charles's room and make their way there. As they descend the stairs, they find the vault wide open. Apprehensively, they step inside, only to discover nothing within. Before they can react, the heavy door slams shut, trapping them inside. Outside the vault, it is revealed that CJ and Madeline are the ones who deliberately locked Hannah and Drew inside. Moments later, Madeline and CJ spot a shadowy figure wandering down the corridor. Believing it to be her deceased younger sister Kami, Madeline hesitantly follows. Soon, she notices fresh footprints appearing on the carpet, advancing toward her. A heartbeat later, an invisible force seizes her, lifting her into the air. Screaming, she is violently dragged down the hall by the unseen entity. When Madeline regains consciousness, she finds herself inside Kami's old room. She gets up and approaches Kami's painting, which starts bleeding. Suddenly, the evil Kami comes out of her painting, attacking Madeline instantly. CJ mistakenly shoots Madeline, assuming her to be Kami, but later regrets his decision when he unknowingly kills her. In a moment, Madeline gives up the ghost. CJ picks up his rifle and comes out of the room, searching for evil Kami, but doesn't find her anywhere. Then he turns around only to find Madeline's corpse missing. This leaves him apprehended. Elsewhere in the vault, the oxygen level begins dropping, making it hard for Hannah and Drew to breathe. However, before something worse could happen, CJ opens the vault, saving Drew and Hannah at the 11th hour. Then he tells them that Madeline has been killed by a ghost. The vengeful CJ asks Drew to approach their father and interrogate him about what he exactly did in the past, due to which they are dying one by one. So Drew and Hannah move to Charles's room, hoping that they will get the answers to their troubling questions, but an invisible force begins causing them troubles. They escape into a room and slide a large table against the door. In times of anxiety, Hannah finds another room across the door. She and Drew enter it, discovering bizarre things inside. They find a book of magic which talks about reaching into the underworld, conjuring demons, and soul trading.
Egyptians. Help me with this.
Outside, CJ is vindictive and keeps looking for the demonic entity to avenge Kami and Madeline. However, he finds himself in big trouble when he encounters evil Madeline and evil Kami in a room. He falls from upstairs, and this fall nearly breaks each of his bones. Not long after, he finds himself cornered by Madeline, who drains his blood to death. Hearing CJ scream, Hannah and Drew rush outside to help him but find no sign of him. In the nick of time, Charles opens the door, letting Hannah and Drew in. Charles learns that Madeline and CJ lost their lives while protecting him outside. Troubled by her questions, Hannah demands to know whom Charles has summoned from the underworld. Then, Charles reveals, after generations of successful Abernathy's, The arrest of his father for embezzlement not only ruined his family but also destroyed their fortune. That's when I began seeking alternatives, and that's when I found this. I made a deal with this demon called Mammon, the demon of greed. I wanted wealth, power, and all of this that I have today. In exchange for all of this, I pledged to Mammon my eternal soul to be taken on my 75th birthday, and when your mother died, I realized that I shouldn't be dying as I had so much more to do. So I renegotiated with Mammon, my mortal life in exchange for my bloodline. After revealing this selfish deal, Charles directly shoots Drew in the head, killing his own son. Afterward, he goes at Hannah as she is the witness to Drew's killing. However, the scared Hannah manages to flee from the room in time, but eccentric Charles goes after her to do the unfinished business.
Enough to be an abbot, Effie. Why listen? Where are you?
Moments later, he finds her in the lobby with a rifle. She unhesitatingly shoots at him, knocking him down. Shortly, the clock falls over him, nearly crushing him. Hannah approaches him. Charles pleads with her to save him and offers her inheritance, but if he dies tonight, she will lose everything.
No.
Hannah remarks that she never wanted his money.
You're gonna
Thereafter,
be my father.
she reveals to him that she is expecting a baby, and that he is about to become a grandfather to her child with Drew.
Tempest.
Afterward, she leaves him on his own as Mammon is on his way to claim Charles's soul. In a while, all the deceased children of Charles began closing in on him while Charles lies under the long case clock. After a while, Mammon, the demon of greed, arrives and stares at Charles for a while, and soon after, he kills him. The following day, Miles arrives at the mansion and unlocks the door only to find Hannah rushing out of the house. She gets in her car and drives away,